Hey, everybody. Thanks for being back with us. Primal here with Remcast coming at you from South Florida, where the sun shines and the haters whine. That's what happens down here, bro. Nice weather. Springtime down here is just awesome. But thanks for joining us tonight, man. I've been looking forward to this episode of Remcast for a while. My brother GUNZ is with us. What's up, Big Daddy?
Another day, loving it.
Nice.
Appreciate you.
Newly appointed chapter president of Seven Cities chapter, man. Congratulations, bro.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that's good stuff. So tell me a little bit how you got hooked up with the club, man. Give me a little background.
After I got out of the Army, went through gunsmith school, came down here. My wife went active and got stationed at Little Creek. I was down here for a solid year and a half, 2 years, and I was praying really hard for God to show me where I can do some good. Didn't really feel like I fit in a whole lot of places. I still help out with the children's ministry at church and everything. And, the kids like me, so it works out really well, but I knew I wasn't maximizing, my potential, what I could do. And then I met one of the guys down here. I was like, man, I don't even have a motorcycle. I can't hang out with you guys. And it was like divine intervention. Bam, bam, bam. I met dudes from the club, and like a month later, my father-in-law calls me. He's like, hey, man, getting rid of this Road King. He's like, I figured I'd give you first dibs if you want it. I was like, yeah, I want it.
Nice. That's cool, man. Yeah. So how long were you in the Army?
7 years, just under 7 years.
I mean, a lot of some of your duty stations like all over the place. Where were you stationed?
I was at Benning for a while, Fort Bragg, out to Fort Lewis, Washington for 4.5 years. And then finished up down in Fort Stewart, Georgia with 3rd ID.
Okay, very cool. Married, got kids?
Yeah, wife and 2 kids, 13-year-old daughter, which, fun.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, my granddaughter is 13, get ready to turn 14, and I swear she's been replaced by demons. I don't know what in the world happened to her, but man. I love her, but she'd be crazy. She's crazy. So, well, cool, man. Yeah. So you got hooked up with these guys, and I met you for the first time when we were in Georgia last year. I got a chance to do a little ride together, met you and your family. So I've been looking forward to this interview, man. So tell me a little bit about what you thought, like when you first got hooked up with these guys.
So I wasn't really sure what to think at first. We were still in the early stages of that rebuilding phase down here, so it was pretty interesting. It was really you got to earn it kind of moment. Right. Wasn't no time to sit back and play. So it was I understood right away that it was pretty serious. If you're going to step up and do it, be who you say you're going to be.
That's right.
At first I thought it was going to be, I've seen MMs ride around. I've seen some other guys from back home, and mostly older dudes just, chilling out and talking Jesus. And first time I met the club at Vision, my whole outlook changed because I knew these guys weren't playing. It was this was real. It was real to these dudes, and that's one of the things that really made me fall in love with the club.
Nice. That's a good word, man, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions, and really that's kind of what I thought. I've been with like from the beginning, and I remember being part of another club. And I just remember walking to a room going, "This is just a bunch of old guys sitting around talking about glory days, man." I mean, just didn't seem to me like, what's the point here, right? And I was about their age, so it wasn't like I was, swinging from young days. You know what I mean? But it's true, man. I think, especially when you get to come to Vision, and we've had some guys just kind of show up looking for some information, seeing if it's something they want to be a part of. That's a good representation about how we roll. Right. And so after you kind of left Vision, man, what were the steps that you came with somebody to Vision, right?
Yeah. I came with,
did you get patched in at Vision?
I got my rockers at Vision that year.
Okay.
Yeah.
What year was that?
It wasn't this past year, the year before. Okay. So 2020, January 2020.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So, man, what do you think now? I mean, you've been in now for a couple of years, and you kind of seen things coming. I mean, obviously you can't really gauge much from this past year, but
Yeah.
What goes on in your mind now when you look across the bow, as it were?
I mean, still to me is the biggest thing is just being with dudes who are really about what they say they're about. I mean, that was one of the biggest things when I was in the army, being infantry. It was like you were around dudes who were exactly what they said they were,
Right.
and when they weren't, it was pretty evident. And I mean, it's the same way in this community, and it's cool being able to learn from a lot of the older dudes in the club, and just having that perspective that they're not slacking. They're
Right.
driving, and like I said, it's real. And that to me is one of the coolest things, and it continually gets proven to you. It's when you're away from the guys for a certain amount of time, the club as a whole, and you start to see the smaller problems and just the everyday in and outs kind of get to you or whatever, and then you get everybody back together, man, and you feel that energy and that love for what we do, and for Christ, and just
Cool.
guys that are really about it. They really love Jesus. They
Amen.
really want to spread the gospel. They're not just talking about it.
So you kind of learned about this stuff to some pretty heavy hard hitters, right? I mean, we're talking about Claymore, and
Oh yeah,
of course he's kind of gimped up right now with his shoulder. But I texted back and forth with him yesterday, and man, that brother, I just love him, man. And I had met him before, but last year, well, I say last year, it was last year in 2020 at Vision in 2020. We was it? What was it 19? Crap, I don't know. Anyway, he just kind of reached out to me afterwards. Something I'd said when I was preaching, and we just kind of connected, man. And we, for a long time, we were just once a week we were talking, just kind of talking about preacher stuff and pastor stuff and ministry stuff. It's kind of cool. I love that brother, and had an opportunity to meet G, but I couldn't get away, man. We had some issues. We were all going to meet and go to Daytona when him and Woody were down here. They made the trip, and we're going to go to Daytona, but we had some issues with Punch, and man, we had to do some quick changing, but I didn't get to meet G. So, man, tell me a little bit about what you do. Like, what's your main gig outside of the club?
So I'm a gunsmith professionally since 2017. Love my job. It's an awesome time. I get to meet a lot of good people and good convo, throughout the day. But yeah, just gunsmithing.
Okay.
Do a lot of Cerakote. So
What kind of? See, I'm really interested in that. What kind of got you into that? Where'd that come from?
So it's actually one of those things where, people always say they go through these things and they look back and they kind of see where God led them along the way.
Right.
I had a lot of leadership in the Army, and it's a common thing in the military. When you're young, they push you to have a plan because you never know what's going to happen.
Sure.
They push you to have something set up for the future. And just to get my squad leader off my back one day, I applied for gunsmith school because it was like a 3-year wait. And I was like, yeah, I got a plan. I applied to go to gunsmith school. That's what I'm gonna do when I get out. And of course, everybody laughed. And it was probably 8 months after I applied. I got the surprise notice that I was getting medically retired. And submitted for med board. Found out I ended up getting medically retired. And I got out, started building trailers, welding in a shop for about 3.5 months on night shift, long enough to know I didn't want to do that very long. And I got a call from the gunsmith school about, a little over a year early. And they're like, hey, we got an early opening. You want to go? I was like, absolutely.
Nice.
Get me out of here.
So,
yeah.
I mean, was it like a location or did you do it online?
It was a location. It's actually the PA Gunsmith School out of Pittsburgh. It was really funny because before I knew anybody in the club, I used to see Chalkline right by the school because he lives up there. Yeah. So I noticed the cut when I got down here.
That's funny, man.
I was like, I seen that.
That is funny. That's a good story. So what do you like most about doing what you do?
I mean, a lot of it is just the people. I'm obviously not a huge talker, and I guess not the biggest people person in the world. But You meet some interesting dudes in the firearms industry.
That's a good. That's a good
It's
word.
it runs the gamut. So, you got your run of the mill average everyday guys, and then you got your militia dudes and I don't want to use credit card and all kinds of crazy dudes, but yeah, they're all usually 95% of the time they're always good people. So.
Nice. That's cool, man. I mean, I would think in the last few years, you guys have probably been busy as crap.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. We're actually the shop I work in is actually super faith based. The owners are Christian as well. Everything we do, we pray about. We make
Wow.
decisions based on what we think God wants us to do. And we were actually led to open another shop recently. And God sent us, just the way things worked out. We were sent to a particular area over in Laurel Fork in Virginia, and there's a potential. We were presented with an opportunity there. We may not be open in one shop. We may be open in two within about an hour of each other over there. So it's been crazy. It's been growing fast, and we've been working a lot of hours, but everything's coming out good. So.
Very cool, man. So I have to hit on this because I feel like um, I just want to catch a perspective here. You said your wife is active duty.
She is. She is. She's been. She's actually getting ready to go back on reserve status.
Okay.
But one of us has been active duty for the last 11 years, 12 years.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah.
Two separate. I mean, same service, or
Nah, I was Army and she is Navy, which
holy crap
provides for some interesting conversation.
So tell me, I mean, listen, man, this is just something because I spent a little time in the Navy. I don't want to call myself a vet because I was such a loser back in the day. I was right out of high school, man. I had no idea how to deal with freedom. So it was not some of my better times before Jesus and all that kind of stuff. What was that? What was that? Has that been like for you guys as a family? To both or at the same time? Were you guys?
We were never active at the same time.
Okay.
While
okay.
I was active duty, she was reserves.
Okay.
And then once I medically retired, she went back active. So.
Okay. All right. So, man, I thank both of you guys for what you did or doing. You did, she's doing. I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate it.
So, man, I've seen some stuff on social media because I kind of stalk our guys, not for any other reason, but just to kind of keep up with folks, see how things are going. And you're involved in a church, Calvary Chapel.
Yeah, Calvary, Virginia Beach.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your faith, man. I mean, when did you come to the Lord? What was it like? What really popped for you?
So I was saved. I was saved at about 7 years old.
Okay.
That was the first time I was baptized. I was really close to my granddaddy. He was a really strong, God-fearing man. Big leader, big guy, big part of my life.
Okay.
That being said, I didn't always live the way I should live. Oh,
you mean you got a past?
Yeah. I got one of those. But whenever I met my wife, a lot of people don't know I adopted my daughter. When I met my wife, my daughter was 6-7 months old.
Wow.
I knew at that point that what I had been doing and the ways I had been living, if we were going to make this work, if we were going to, if I was going to commit to this and marry this woman and have a daughter, I needed to change. I didn't know exactly what that meant, and I didn't know how to do it. But there's a way I always tell people: I knew what Granddaddy did, I knew what my great grandfather did, and that's what I did. I went back to that, and it was a rough couple of years. Some hard lessons learned. But God brought me back to him, and I'm super grateful for it.
That's a good word, man, because that speaks directly into the influence of what faith has on family members. I'm like you, bro. My grandpa, my papa was, I remember watching him and listening to him pray over meals and felt like there was such an authority in this poor, didn't have nothing redneck's life. You know what I mean? There was just something about him. He had an authority and a weight about him that I remember now, after all these years ago. And he affected my faith. And he would say things to me, like I would ask him, Papa, what are we going to do tomorrow? Boy, there ain't no need to worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough to provide for itself. And I know, what the crap does that even mean? You know? And I grow up and I come to know the Lord, and all these little sayings that he would say to me were just right out of Scripture. It's that little, redneck eyes, kind of throw his little spin on there. But he was speaking truth into my life when I was a kid, and I didn't even know it. Like all I knew is he was like he was Confucius or something. I had no idea, but I later learned that there was a depth about him, about his faith that impacted me even as a kid. And I knew one thing. Man, when we came to the table, it was time to eat, and Papa was going to pray. I better not be acting a fool. I'd catch that backhand, you know what I mean? Right across the temple. I mean, and quick. That old dude was quick. So that's a good word, man. That's a good word. So do you think the way that you're raising your kids now as a modern father kind of reflects the way that your grandfather had an impact on your life?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I aim to be that guy, one day. I'm gonna see myself there yet. Obviously we all judge ourselves a little harshly, especially,
Sure.
Guys who do what we do. You're a little harder on yourself than most people are on you. But, yeah, I try to be that guy. I want to, one day want to be that guy.
Amen. So how many kids do you have? 3?
2.
Okay. Boy and a girl?
Boy and a girl, 13 and 8.
Oh, geez. Like riding a bike?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So my granddaughter was down here a couple weeks ago, a month ago. I don't know when it was. And took her for a ride. And so I got 3 granddaughters and 3 grandsons. And the girls love it more than the guys do, I think. And, man, I kind of pegged it out as much as I could with the granddaughter on the back. And that was it. She's done, man. She is done. Some kind of way in her life, there's going to be a motorcycle involved. There is no question about that. She has, like I said, she crossed over. There's no question about that.
Oh yeah, my daughter's already trying to talk to my wife because Courtney's got her little sporty low in there that she rides around, and she's talked about getting a Dyna. And my daughter's like, "Well, Mom, when I graduate, you can give me your sporty, and you can get your Dyna."
Already plotting to get that Harley. I like that. That. So what's it like riding with the wife, man? My wife she's not into that. I mean, she's good for about an hour on the bike. We go for about an hour.
My wife has always been super independent. That's one of the things I respect about her. She doesn't let anybody tell her she can't do anything. That's for sure.
That's right.
Man, she rode around with me, and one day she got it in her head. She was like, "It's cool riding with you." She's like, "But I want to learn how to ride. I want to know how to ride." And I mean, it wasn't probably a month later. She already had, a line on a bike, and
nice.
She came up to me. She's like, "Babe, can I spend this money for a motorcycle?" I'm like, "Babe, you have a job. It's your money. If you want to buy the bike, buy the bike."
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, I was I followed her little trick on you about getting the bigger bike. That was a little. Yeah. Well, that junk was funny. That was funny.
Man, I was freaking out. Well, the big part of that people don't realize is with her going back on reserves, we don't really know what she's going to be doing yet, like full-time job wise. So she's messaging me. I'm like, "Man, you don't even have a job yet. You should be buying motorcycles." Yeah, but it was funny.
I'm sorry, man. I had a little thing pop up on the screen here. So, tell me what. So you got a couple years in, you see what this thing is all about. What do you say to somebody that comes up to you? "Hey, brother, I kind of seen you guys riding around. I'm really looking to get plugged in. Looks like I've kind of heard your story. Military, you live in a military town, because I think you got a couple of guys that are ex-military, right?"
Yeah, we do.
Okay. So,
We got a couple guys that come around, and then we got one dude we just patched in that's active duty. So,
yeah. What's that brother's name?
Mitch is Cheese.
Cheese. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that dude don't ever stop smiling. Ever.
I love hearing. Now, see, I get your road name. I get that, right? I mean, that's, that makes sense. But when I saw the brother come up on social media, and I thought, why in seven craps would they call him Cheese? What is that? That's got to be some kind of story to that. Like when we see, Punch, right?
Yeah.
When I see Punch, that's a big brother, and I see he used to box. I get that. Like I understand all that. And some of these road names come out, but the story behind them are kind of funny. So if somebody comes up to you, man, it's like, hey, man, I've kind of been checking you guys out, and I'm looking to kind of do something with my faith. I like motorcycles. What do you say to somebody right off the bat?
Really, I mean, my experience with seeing how the guys were was such a big part of what made me fall in love with the club. I mean, there's a lot I could sit there and tell people all day. What we do, how we build relationships. And my big thing is, you want to come see, come see that it's real.
Yeah, that's good, man, because that's what Jesus said. The disciples were kind of hanging around with him, and hey, can we, thought we'd come by and see you. What's this all about? Well, come hang out with me for a little while. Let me show you what it's all about. That's a good word. That's a good word. So after a couple of years, you're thinking, all right, so got this position. We started some restructuring where you are, and kind of like really hung on to that. I'm really kind of proud of you guys stepping into that, because that's a big deal to kind of re-identify, refocus, whatever you want to call it, rebuild. What are you thinking about somebody asking the question? Somebody's in the club, man, I'm not sure that I want to continue with this. What would you say to somebody about that?
I mean, a lot of those problems that guys, come to where they make that statement. They're like, hey, I don't know if I want to continue with this. I don't know if I want to do this. I've learned, through talking to a couple of guys that have hung around and stuff. It's like a lot of those problems you're dealing with are things you need people in your life to, I feel like I'm pushing away, getting away from my faith. I feel like, I'm too busy to actually, do the things I need to do you need those good God-fearing guys in your life to help point you in the right direction. I mean, that was one of the good things about you talking about Claymore and G and having them around is, when I got, in the weeds or swamped or whatever, and it was like, you got the blinders on just trying to knock out the next thing, having somebody call you and go, hey, dude, I know what's up, but you got this on your plate and you need to do it now. Like you need those dudes in your life to put the bumpers up and keep you keep you on track, keep you going down your lane.
That's good stuff right there, bro. Because I think a lot of times we look at the whole idea about brotherhood as not really applicable to our daily lives. But you got guys like that looking out for you, knowing what you're dealing with, understanding how you feel, kind of helping navigate you through some of those difficult times. That's a big deal. And that's a good way to put it too. Like having the bumpers in that lane, keep you where you need to be, focus in, calm the freak down a little bit, and do what you got to do. And I find that a lot of guys who get to that point to where, I mean, we all go through it, right? I went through it myself, trying to step away from the very thing that we need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think coming off,
I mean, that's one of the things. One of the things I found in the club that I didn't even know that I was really, I didn't know it was tearing me up that I was missing it from the Army, was having those brothers around you that'll grab you and be like, hey, listen up, man.
Right. That's good. That's good. I have some relationships like that in the club. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes in the last 10, 11 years. And but there's such a camaraderie there. That's a good word. I feel like I've had guys call me out, hey, listen, man, we're not messing around with this. Let's kind of get back. Let's get focused. And I appreciate that about it. I mean, that's at the very core of what discipleship is that we don't let people go. It's almost like the Lord sends a posse out after us, right? In them old Western movies, kind of let's mount up and go get this brother. He's acting a fool, or he's trying to do this, or he's trying to do that. That's good. That's good. So, man, what's been the best thing outside of the brotherhood aspect? And I think once you dive into that, that's always going to be the thing that you hold on to. But what would you say you've learned the most from in your experience with the club?
I mean, for me personally, like I said, I'm not the biggest people person out there. Going and actually like talking to people or just starting up a conversation for me,
Right.
for most of my life didn't happen. You know, but watching how some of these guys interact, and it's not you're not walking up and cold asking people like, hey, do you believe in Jesus? It's like, no, I mean, these guys are striking up a conversation. They're being genuine. Right. They're getting guys generally interested, and then they're asking real questions. It's learning how to interact with people in a way that they open up and they're willing to hear what you have to say. That and it kind of jarred me a little bit. I felt called for a long time to become a little more educated about the things I should be doing, and started going to school and everything. So kind of motivates you to be better.
Okay, very good. What would you say the worst thing? What's been the worst part of your experience?
The worst part? Yeah. I mean, I would say just being in certain situations where you, before talking about being who you say you're going to be.
Right. Right. I get that, bro. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Some guys, it's just when you get, when people get, it's like that old saying, some people have a run in with some judgmental Christians, and now their whole perception of, Christianity and Christ followers is skewed. It's like living in that. You gotta change their mind. You gotta bring them, you gotta bring that, bring their point of view around to what real Christ followers are like.
That's true, man. Because I mean, whether we realize it or not, we're carrying the perception of a lot of people. We're dealing with a lot of people's perception. And the worst part of it is that we never live up to what it ought to be. To me, the best part of it is showing people that, hey, man, I'm not perfect here. I ain't trying to be perfect. I ain't trying to be somebody that I'm not either. I like the fact that the brokenness that we find having come face to face with Christ, if that's a genuine, people see that humility. And the Holy Spirit always goes before us too when we're talking about these things, right? He's not leaving us out there in the wilderness by ourselves, to have to deal with these things. So he's always very present in that, and I appreciate that. That's true, man. Because I would just.
I think I just cut it up.
Well, did we freeze up?
It froze up for a minute. You're good now.
Yeah. It's kind of, this thing is not used to my awesome beard, and that's all it is. So, man, have you had the opportunity to meet some guy? Obviously, you have. Are you spending any extra time with anybody that's close by you? You do anything with the Carolina boys?
We haven't yet.
Okay.
I mean, last year kind of kept everybody in, and then sure. With the shop being so busy, I've not been getting many days off, but we're trying to set some stuff up for the gauntlet this year so we can make at least a few runs out and try to get to a bunch of other chapters. But
nice.
But
yeah, we down here in BFE, right? I mean, we ain't near as bad as Arizona. That brother out there, but it's a long way down here, man. And I live 2 hours south of where my president is. Yeah, and then 3 hours across the strait is where Punch is. So. I mean, we stay in contact. I'm thankful for opportunities for technology, but man, it's just sometimes it makes it difficult. So, man, let's do this. What if you were to say something to the guys that are in the club? And I ask this question to everybody. If you could say one thing to the guys as far as an encouragement, what would be something that you would share?
Just that I know a lot of the, and I don't want to say this derogatorily, but there's a lot of older dudes in the club. Not as many of the younger guys, but just the younger dudes are looking up. We're coming up. We're trying to be better, and a lot of the way you guys are teaching us and showing us and leading us is it's been beneficial, and it makes a difference.
That's good right there, man. That's good. And that kind of goes right back to what you were talking about initially with your grandfather. I think looking for that legacy discipleship and wanting to pass that on and realizing it's still important. I mean, obviously wanting to do it right and being with people that love to do it right and love the Lord, that's a big deal. So I know you ain't got a whole lot of time in. I know that 2 years is not very long, man. A couple of years not very long. But what would you say there'd be some things that we need to work on as a club? And before you answer that, let me just say this: a lot of times you spend a lot of time in organizations, and you know this. You were in the Army for a long time. You know, fresh eyes are important, bro. Fresh eyes are important because a lot of times we live and deal with issues the way we always have because we've. It's almost like we've lost certain things, certain kinds of vision. I noticed the other day. I'm noticing things a little bit more in my peripheral vision than I used to for some reason. I'm sitting there watching my wife when we're having a lunch one day, and anytime there was a movement out of the side of my eye, it just kind of caught my attention. So I would turn my head. I noticed that for the first time. So fresh eyes are important, bro. And I'm not. Fresh eyes are important. So I'm not really looking for you to point the finger and go, we need to do that better. But I am asking, what are some things that you feel like we could do better? That's a heavy question, bro.
Yeah, I was not prepared for that one. Man, shoot, off the top of my head, I'm not. You got me. I'm drawing a blank on that.
Okay. That's good, man. I mean, at least there's not like 7 things that you go, okay, so I got a list of things. I've been waiting for somebody to ask me this.
I mean, it's funny because it's a double-edged sword. You know, you get you get that leadership from the older dudes, and then you get a lot of type A personalities. Everybody's set in their ways, but I'm used to that from the Army too. So
right.
As long as everybody's willing to have a discussion, that's the important thing. And so far, I've not met anybody in the club yet who's like, absolutely not. This is the only way. And that they might think their way is the only way, but they'll at least talk to you about it.
Sure. I think that's a good point too, man, because I really think what's been going on with us older guys are seeing is that man, God is sending some leaders into our club that for the next generation or the next move or whatever it is. Remnant means what it means, not many. You know what I mean? So even though we're a national club, we're growing. I would say leaders, especially Christian leaders, are not growing on trees, right? They're growing, but they're growing in different situations. And I think the Lord is sending some people our way that makes it a little bit easier for the original fellas to say, man, we're in good hands as far as the way things are going. And I would say that about you, man. I love the personality you got. I appreciate your humility. I like the fact that you stepped into what could have been a very difficult situation and you stuck it out, right? You submitted to authority. You submitted to the restructuring plan and did it in a way that that lifted you up and quite honestly glorified God, I think, in the whole process. And I think as a club, we're screaming for that kind of thing. Having somebody that'll come in and do the work needed in order to get past a pretty difficult situation. So kudos to you for that, man. I ain't trying to blow smoke or anything like that, but kudos to you.
Appreciate it.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I know you may not realize that, but it is. And there was a lot of people, we just sat back and watched to see how that thing was going to roll out. Now, I will tell you this. Obviously, the two guys that were kind of helping lead that from a national perspective to these two guys that really helped you guys, G and Claymore.
Oh yeah.
They got some weight too, man. So there was a trust that was given to them to be able to oversee and help you guys do what you needed to do. So I would say one thing, not that there was a test in this, but man, if there was, you passed the freaking thing with flying colors. So good job. Good job.
I hope so. It was a grace of God. I don't know. Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
Well, I think that's a testament to the whole thing, bro. I mean, really, when you look at it, we're just a bunch of guys who like riding our motorcycles who want to do it in a specific way, in a specific place with specific people. And I think the fringe element is always misunderstood, misguided. People kind of go into it thinking that they need to be something instead of represent something. And the one thing that I've always loved about these guys, when I first came in, I knew less because somebody had introduced him to me before, and I prospected into in another club with those guys. And because he is a leader, because he's the leader that he is, it's easy to follow people like that. If he's passionate about it, it makes me easy to be passionate about it too. And I think ultimately when we see these guys that are coming in, see you guys that are coming in who believe the same thing, who are representing the same way, that just carries a weight across the whole spectrum. And so again, man, I appreciate you being willing to do that. That was a big deal.
I do got to say one thing. I mean, as far as the aspect of brotherhood, I really mean it wasn't me. If it wasn't for the other handful of guys that we got down here, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have shored up like it did. So,
amen.
A lot of the credit, most of the credit goes to everybody around me. So,
amen. That's again. I think that's parcel for the whole gig, and I agree with that. I've met. I think when I met P, he was he came with you guys to Carolina, along with, didn't he?
He came to Georgia.
I'm sorry, Georgia. Yeah. And Quest came.
Me, Quest, and LP were all down in Georgia.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to see. I'm getting confused, man. My faculty start to disappear after 9 o'clock.
I got you. Hey, I still got homework.
Well, listen, bro, I really want to say thanks for taking your time out tonight. I know you got off work not too long ago, and it's not the best thing to sit in front of a screen and be interviewed and being put on the spot, ask questions that you're not ready to answer. But, man, what we really want to see happen through this is that we want people to know a side of our brothers that hanging out with you and sitting around the fire with you was awesome. But I didn't ask you none of the questions that I asked you tonight, right? I mean, it wasn't like that. We're just some of these brotherhood things just take a little time. And one of the reasons we wanted to do Remcast and interview presidents to begin with is that the people across the club would just get to know each other. I think it's a big deal. Yeah. Plus, it's making me famous.
Whatever works, right?
Yeah. So listen, man, thanks again so much, and I appreciate it. I appreciate your family letting you kind of take some time out of this. It's really been a really good conversation.
Yeah, I'm just glad I didn't freeze up and stutter all over myself. So
yeah, well,
the win.
Yeah, I've spent so much money on some of this crap I got in here, and I still freeze up. So. Listen, thanks for joining us tonight at Remcast, guys. It's been a really good conversation with our boy GUNZ from 7 cities in Virginia. I'm thankful for the opportunity to get to know him a little bit better, and there's more and more coming up right out of this location in Southeast Florida, where typically is the center of my universe. So God bless you guys, GUNZ. Appreciate it, man. That's usually where you say, you're welcome.
Oh, you're welcome. Sorry. All right, talk to you later.
See ya.